Well, we were talking about sugar when we started. We're going to talk about sugar now because that's the sweet spot in the market, if I could say that. Ethanol blending and price revision expectations, of course, are keeping sugar stocks really perked up and elevated, according to this Dam Capital report that Prashant was alluding to earlier as well. Fast developing El Nino conditions are further hampering production, global production, and prices have been trending higher. Atul Chaturvedi, Executive Chairman at Shree Renuka Sugars, is with us now. Mr. Chaturvedi, lots to talk about. New sugar year is starting, prices, ethanol. I don't even know where to begin. Actually, I'll start with ethanol because we were speaking to Highway Minister Nitin Gadkari just yesterday, and he made a very, very emphatic pitch for, increasing the presence of biofuels in the mix, ethanol, etc. Can you just tell us right now how much of the revenue? I think you said 35 or 40% of revenue is coming in from ethanol. But how profitable is the business for you? And in terms of ethanol pricing for the next year, what would your expectations be on this?
No. To answer your last question first, my take is that the government will have to necessarily increase the price of ethanol suitably to ensure that ethanol continues to remain much more attractive to the sugar industry as compared to sugar. So I'm sure the government is definitely aware of this fact, and with sugar prices on the boil worldwide, and India also inching up a little, I won't say India is on the boil, but inching up a little. So I think next year ethanol values will probably have to be suitably tweaked upward.
How much, sir? Can you give us a sense? How much of a price increase would you like to see? I mean, wish list.
Yeah, our wish list would be minimum 5 rupees a litre. Currently, ethanol from juice is closer to about 65 rupees a litre. We would probably want it closer to about 70 rupees a litre. And with the international Brent also firm and no subsidies involved per se in ethanol blending, so I think it should not be too much of a problem for the government to jack up the values.
Okay, so minimum 5 rupees a litre is what you're talking about on prices of ethanol. But I wanted to talk more about the ethanol blending program. I think up until now it's reached about 11 to 12%. What is the way forward? Do you think that 20% target can be achieved? And at your end, what is the prognosis on ethanol blending?
In fact, if you really look at the government's target, the government was targeting about 10.16 billion litres of ethanol to be sourced by 2025 to achieve a 20% blending rate. And the ratio of that was from the sugar sector, they were expecting about 5.5 billion litres, and from the grain or allied other sectors, about 4.66 to make it 10.16. My take is that sugar sector has the right kind of ecosystem in place.
Right.
Grain, in any case, you are seeing that it's moving much more northwards. So
Right.
if you really look at blending and the availability of ethanol as of date, about 80% is currently coming out from the sugar sector and only about 20-odd% from the grain sector. And the government will have to up the target from the sugar sector, and I'm sure the sugar sector is quite capable of increasing the output of ethanol going forward.
Right. Mr. Chaturvedi, good morning. Prashant here. Just a few questions, if you can be a little brief. We are running short of time. First is on the cane pricing side, what's the situation? I think in Karnataka we saw increase. In Uttar Pradesh we saw some reports that perhaps that is under consideration. So far, nothing. What's the situation? I mean, you were a big player in Maharashtra.
No, I don't think any change has happened in Maharashtra or Karnataka. We've only been hearing from the press and the media that UP is going ahead with 250 rupees increase, which will be quite, I would say, wrong at this time of the year. When
but could it happen, Mr. Chaturvedi? Could a hike happen?
I can't commit to that. It is contradictory to what the government efforts are to keep the prices in check.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether it will or not happen.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. But then you began by saying that sugar prices are on the boil. So then sugar prices also will stay where they are, right? They will not be allowed to go up, and they will remain at a significant discount to international sugar prices, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. India is a very well-regulated market, and I don't see Indian values going up too much. They might inch up a little in sympathy with the world values, but can't go through the roof. Absolutely not.
Do you expect any further restrictions coming through we've seen a slew of measures across commodities, food items. Sugar perhaps is the only one where we've not seen, anything incrementally. Do you expect anything?
No, I don't expect too much on that front because sugar, by and large, because it's a regulated commodity, is inflation-proof. So the values have not gone up all that much to create flutter in the decision makers.
Mr. Chaturvedi, I just had one follow-up question to the ethanol blending program you were talking about earlier. Will you look to get into grain-based distilleries at any point in time? Is that, can you build the capacity for that?
Honestly speaking, as far as we are concerned, we are not sold out on the grain distillery concept, and so we don't really intend going in for grain distillery as of today.
Okay.
Mr. Chaturvedi, that's ethanol. Just to go back to that point on, expectations on cane pricing. Right now, local prices are pretty high, right? 36, 37. And the festive season hasn't even begun. Leave us with an outlook on domestic sugar prices.
No, the domestic sugar prices at this time of the year normally would be high because this is the fag end of the season. So I don't see sugar prices going up much further. Maybe marginal here and there. But then after a month and a half, you would have the new sugar coming into the play. So I think it's only a temporary phenomena.
Okay. Just one last company-specific question. So your ethanol capacity is 1,250 KLPD right now?
That's right.
As at the end?
Right.
Are you looking at expansion? Are you looking at, what will that number stay where it is, or will we see it going up?
We have just completed our ethanol expansion in the March of 2023. And the full play of the expanded capacity will come into play only this year. At the moment, we are not really expanding further for the time being.
And what is, by when will the full capacity come on stream? The expanded capacity?
No, the expanded capacity is already on stream. And in fact, with this crushing season coming into play in October, November, we will have our full blast ethanol production.
Got that. Thanks very much, Mr. Chaturvedi. Appreciate you joining in. It's a pleasure having you with us here on CNBC-TV18. Thank you. Thanks very much.